What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Run Your Mouth podcast, and we're going to get right into it. I got no nonsense for you guys. I haven't left my house much recently, been home, doing a whole bunch of podcasting, and so no one's pissed me off enough to come on here all anxious and yelling and screaming. Plus, I got a nice dose of reality the other day. I was watching some other video of some guy yelling about something. I was like, all right, you know what? Things aren't that big of a deal. I'm going to go the other direction. I'm going to become the chill, hey, let's not go on the internet and yell about things. Because other people are making me question my vibe of being on the internet yelling at things because of how ridiculous they look yelling at things. We're going to play that video. I'm going to be back hopefully on Sunday with an episode. I want to track down Steven. Steven, he's done with COVID. You remember our residential COVID expert? He's moved on, and now he's buying up all the Bitcoins. He's becoming a financial expert, and so we're going to get into the situation going on in England, which, let me tell you, after just a couple hours of research, wasn't even a couple hours, it was like 15 minutes and 3 headlines, I put this whole picture together. It's fun once you've followed enough of the financial schemes that you can really just navigate straight through the line and go, oh, BlackRock. It really doesn't even take that long. It's like 3 articles and you're like, yep, BlackRock, and here's how they did it, and there's the bailout, and this is why the entire system will at some point collapse, is not capitalism, and makes no sense. How's that for a tease to start off the episode? Because we're not going to do that to the end of the episode. So now you're going to have to sit through all the nonsense and dribble just to get to the information you wanted. And then I'm going to be able to do more and more sponsor plugs to the entire thing that you're forced to listen to. And that's what the Run Your Mouth podcast is all about. It's really just one big scheme to be getting you to buy sheaths, Kratums, using promo code RYM so they know that I sent you, and then they renew for next year. By the way, Robert's going to be on at the end of the show. We're going to be talking about underwear technology to get you into the home stretch. It's the fourth quarter here. You got to put up your quarterly earnings. Your boss is on your case. He's like, listen, Q1, Q2, Q3, we were still pretending like Corona was out there, but now we're in Q4, and we've got to cover some ground because the inflation's up and nobody's reportings are good. So I need you showing up to work, and the only way that's going to happen is if you're wearing your sheath underwears and you know that you got your 20% discount. I didn't even want to take this opportunity to plug them. I wanted to get right into some news topics. I said I wasn't going to dribble. I said there wasn't going to be any nonsense. Dude, we might sell out this Saturday in Perryville, Maryland at Fifth Company Brewing Corp. Fan of this show, opened up a brewery. I'm excited to taste his beers, and it's going to be a fun show. I'm also quite ecstatic by how well tickets moved for that event and the viability of doing broader shows, actually tapping into some Facebook advertising, following people along on the internet so you can go, hey, I think you'd like this product. So, hopefully get out of my house more, do even more shows. Let's get into today's topics, because honestly, if you just get through my drops of the topics that we're going to be discussing, you can now be in the loop on all the biggest stories that happened this past week. I've watched everything that's happened. I've watched every video, and some of these things, you're going to think that they're jokes. You're going to think that these things that I'm referencing about Biden walking off the stages, talking to ghosts, you're going to think that these are jokes. And that's the point. You got to waste more of your life on the internet, poking around on Twitter, watching everything that's happening so that you realize how buffooneried, that's not even a word, but we're going to go with it, the world has become. Because you're going to think I'm kidding here. You're going to think that these are nonsense headlines about things that we're not going to address as a part of the podcast and couldn't have possibly have happened. But I'm letting you know, you are not wasting enough time on the internet. So here we go. Today's topics. First, we speak with Lizzo's stylist on the best stage outfits to highlight your fat rolls. Next, psychologists ask, how much should you care about a musician you never heard of playing a flute you didn't know about? Are you socially obligated to take sides in the Lizzo flute playing scandal? With new sanctions being discussed, our policy analysts ask, do the sanctions we're holding back this on Russia? Do the sanctions we're holding back earn interest? And if not, why are we saving them? Are the world leaders not using all the tools we have to stop Putin? Does not using everything at our disposal make our world leaders at fault for his actions? In other style news, we have the exclusive on Hunter Biden's fall crack pipe collection. Next, will the White House come clean and tell us the conservative conversations Joe Biden is having with ghosts? After Kamala Harris gives a speech on our commitments to North Korea, health experts are questioning if gaffing is contagious, or is the administration secretly dog-whistling their support for nuclear war? Next, election officials question if maybe instead of a 2024 presidential election, we can just have a Joe Biden versus Kamala Harris retard off. With that guy stepping down from The Daily Show, we wonder how woke will Comedy Central go in replacing Trevor Noah? Black albino gay transitioners apply now. Will Biden's first biodiversity hire be tasked with cleaning up a pipeline we just sabotaged? And last, what did BlackRock do? All right, now we can get into the show. We're getting smoother with that drops. You know, it's a nice fancy board. You press buttons, things happen. It's good things. All right. But before we get into the show, I just want to remind, Mackenzie, she's back on the market, and I'm here for you, baby. I just want to remind you that I would love to spend the rest of my life spending Jeff Bezos' money. Don't let these other baldos who led you astray either by evil world domination or just being some loser biology teacher, turn you off from short, bald men. I am in your demographic. I've what you've been looking for. You messed up with these other ones by going with guy who was too much of a winner, and then you went the other guy with some guy that was just too much of a loser. But I think you and I could live a great life together, spending Jeff's money, making love, and eating cookies. And by the way, I'll convince you to quit wasting all of Jeff's money, giving it away to charity. That's supposed to be our money. That's what it was intended for. My Jewy mouse face with your chipmunk face together. Maybe I can even dump a baby in you. I don't know if your ovaries are still working. Maybe with Bezos' money, we could spend some of that so that way I can lock it down. And then even if you leave me, maybe I can get some alimony and then I can spend Bezos' money on being at home and buying some cookies. But I just want to put it out in the world. I feel like, you got to put things up on your vision board. That's something that me and Robert might talk about shortly. I just realized I forgot to send Robert the link. Robert, if you're watching live, I know that I got to send you the link. It's in my messages, but I'm flowing right now. So let me get through a couple topics. I'll get you that link, Robert, even though I bet you're not watching live, but I will get this to you shortly. But like I said, vision board, you gotta pray to the heavens. It's Jewish New Year. You gotta float your intentions. You gotta let people know what you're looking for. And so I'm putting it out there. If anyone has Mackenzie's number, pass it over my way because, I'd love to spend Jeff's money with you. All right. Russia pipeline leaks sparks climate fears as huge volumes of methane spew into the atmosphere. And just wait till this turns into, we now have to do even more emergency measures to combat climate change. Before we thought we had some time, but then we bombed this pipeline, and because we care about the universe so much and this natural disaster, and now there's even more methane in the planet than we ever could have imagined, we're going to have to turn off your electricity. We have no other choice at this time. I mean, our best experts thought that we had some time, and we care about the environment so much that we, bombed a pipeline in order to prevent a war and, I guess, starve more people in Europe. And by the way, you're going to find out in a minute just how serious people's energy needs are. And we're blaming everything on global warming. This is from the Associated Press. Hurricane Ian is quickly gaining monstrous strength as it moves over oceans, partly heated up by climate change. This is their best trick, is that everything alludes to something, but without making definitive statements. If you don't already follow me on Twitter, Robbie the Fire on Twitter, I also did a breakdown where Axios was supporting Janet Yellen, where they were trying to construe it like Janet Yellen was not playing politics. But they used words like uncomfortable playing politics, and then they put so many kickers on these things that we've all made this joke, but it's like I'm the funniest guy broadcasting from my living room right now. And it's like once you throw on that kicker at the end, it's like the earlier statement was meaningless. And so this is their move. Hurricane Ian is quickly gaining monstrous strength as it moves over oceans, partly heated up by the climate change. So it's not even saying that the climate change fully heated the oceans or that the heated oceans are causing the hurricane, but just whatever you can do to take any world tragedy and pretend like it's caused by global warming. I mean, everything. Let's get kids in school now. I didn't do my homework. It was global warming. I cheated on you. It was climate change. I was so stressed out. The underwater temperatures that exploded that pipeline that Europe needed in order to get its energy for the winter, that was climate change too. Anything that's going on in the world, it's all climate change. And then this was, by the way, this wasn't even the NPR article. This Google apparently has an algorithm where it'll redo other people's headlines to make it even more explosive and even more nonsensical. But this is from Google News about An NPR article, climate change is linked to the spread of viruses like monkeypox, experts say. So apparently, climate change is even making more people gay. I mean, that's how serious of a risk we are of climate changing, is that it's forcing more people to become homosexuals, which apparently puts us all more at risk for the spread of deadly disease. Are you allowed to say that? I mean, we're still on YouTube. I shouldn't be saying things like that. YouTube, I would like to clarify that the last thing I said was from an alternative character. We're going to give him a name. It wasn't me. It was another guy who said that, and I think what he said was reprehensible. In fact, this show would like to disassociate with that individual. I'm gonna claim that I have multiple personality disorder, and for censors to not be willing to accept my mental illness, even as I recognize that my other personality... All right, moving on. European Union proposes more Russian sanctions. And it's like right out of fucking Dumb and Dumber. You can't sanction the already sanctioned. You can't sanction the already sanctioned. Lloyd, we've already been sanctioned. You can't sanction the already sanctioned. I mean, why are we holding back sanctions? If you got more sanctions and you think the sanctions are worth, why don't we just go to sanction bottom? You throw all the sanctions in there, you realize it's not working, and then we can finally call them up and go, hey, these things aren't working. It is like a false way of pretending like they have control. To me, this is like if you were getting into a car accident, but then you keep flicking your blinkers to just pretend like you somehow have control over the situation. It's like, the news story comes in and goes, hey, this Ukraine thing's getting worse. Well, just put it out there that we're gonna sanction them even more. I mean, what sanctions are even left on the table? Like, what message do you think? You think Putin's finally, oh, no, another sanction. We got to call it. That's it. I pull the troops out of Ukraine. I'm going to fly myself into America and turn myself over. I can't believe it. More say they're not working. Why are you pretending like this is even a thing? It's an option. It's going to help in any capacity. And then we've got footage of our world leaders competing for who can be the bigger dumbass. So you've got Kamala Harris. She's out there in South Korea. And apparently it's not that she's just autistic when it comes to space, even though she took the opportunity when she met with the soldiers to be like, have you looked at this telescope? But then they gave her binoculars and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe the way binoculars work. It's like I'm looking over there, but I'm over here and look at how close it is. It's like, yeah, that's the way binoculars and borders work. If you're at the border, you're going to be right next to the thing. She's shocked. She goes, wait, so North Korea's right there? Yeah, you travel to the line. You travel to the one spot on Earth that borders right on North Korea. So yes, you're very close to it, but she can't believe it. Oh my God, I can't believe we're just looking at North Korea. Yeah, you travel to the border. Someone should explain these things to Kamala Harris. And so she's up there and she's talking about this fine relationship that we've got with North Korea. Dog whistling all the nuclear powers out there, how we secretly support nuclear war and how we secretly think everyone should be getting their hands on nuclear weapons so that they can nuke other people. She's dog whistling this because she's at the policy meetings where they're talking about trying to provoke nuclear wars with other countries. And so she gets up there and she starts gaffing because she wants to become president. And she's realizing that Biden got to the top by being the biggest dumbass in American history. So she's like, if I want that role, I'm going to have to step up to the plate and be an even bigger dumbass. That's what she's thinking. Do I think that that's going to be a good strategy? No. And then you got Biden, who's talking to ghosts. He's up there and going, hey, can I get this lady who died out there? And then there's this other one where this is such, firstly, he walks like Mr. Burns now. He's got like this like T-Rex thing. And then you can see there's this great moment where he accidentally walks into the crowd. And he's like, oh shit, I have to actually be with people. I don't want to be with people. And then, of course, you got myocarditis, who's just standing there in the background, looking at this because he sees the disaster going on, but he's in charge of the border. So watching disasters all day, he's unfazed by this. You know what I mean? This is nothing compared to just watching. So here's what's going on. Biden, I guess he's supposed to continue to remain there, and they try and wrangle him, but it's like this lady got very specific instructions from whatever the demon handler is that normally just puts the things onto the teleprompter for Biden, right? So she gives very specific instructions, which is don't let him walk away. And then Biden has this moment where he finishes, and he seems to like going to the right, and then they almost need a leash on the back of this thing, like a big handle, so that you can just grab Biden when he's walking away, and they go, nope, teleprompter's over there. Or they need like teleprompter instructions for him not to read at the end of the speech with what he's then supposed to do next. All right, now we've got a New York Post story about all the money that Dr. Fauci has made, and we're going to take a moment right now, because what I have to do is I have to find my phone, which is right here. I have to text Robert that he should join us. And while we do that, you know what's great? You know what's really wonderful? I know that this is very wonderful, but I got drops. So what I can do is I can send him. Let's play a drop. Here, no. You know what? Instead of a drop, we're going to play some fucking tunes. We're going to ramp up for the middle part. We'll say this is a 4-part podcast. We just finished part 1. We're about to get into part 2. And so while I text Robert to waste a minute here, let's listen to the latest from the Shedcast gang. If you guys never listened, every Thursday I get drunk in the shed. I don't always drink. A lot of times I'm driving and then I just hang out. But sometimes, you know, back in the old days, we used to get pretty hammered up in the shed with the Shedcast gang. And they just put out a new album called The Ship is Burning. And here's their
burning it down, fuck up a pound, leave a trail headed my way, trying to fuck up my day, too much fun in my sway, smoke 100 to the face, pick a flower out the vase, little sour with the taste, weaving in and out of state, bringing it loud, breathing and leaving it cloud.
Loud, blowing it down, hop in the Jeep, got a jar full of green, just hit the hole in the wall, for the X, that's a jar full of me, Mike Nice with the snapback in the white tee, got the loud pack of that OG, smoking back to back, bringing OT, can't bring me down, head in the clouds, never smoking on that regular, popping a pound, look at me now, top shelf, that's regular, we be moving on the regular.
Shed Rector gonna wrecked. Go check it out. All right, here we go. So Dr. Fauci, wife's wealth stock skyrocketed by $5 million during the pandemic, according to analysis. Here, we can take a look. Here's a Zero Hedge article showcasing Fauci's wealth. Now, I remember that I'd seen this headline that he got like this $1 million grant or something, or $1 million from like some Tel Aviv organization. So Fauci, he's made a lot of money, and his net worth has gone up substantially since the beginning of the pandemic. I think the number was like 5 million. I think I just read that from that from that headline, and he now makes he now has a net worth of $12 million. Now, there's a couple things going on here. First is, you think he's made most of his pandemic money while he's still in office? I mean, it was very odd to me that he was able to just get $1 million payment from some Jews in Israel and just go, hey, here, we think you're doing such great job talking truth. How is that possible that you could be a government official and someone could just send you $1 million as an award for talking truth? Doesn't that just sound like a straight up bribe? I mean, talk about just being so ingrained in the system that this guy's a scientist and he's talking truth, and someone's so happy that he's talking truth, they get to send him $1 million. I mean, in what world does that not sound like that was just a straight up bribe? You know what? We're coming down from Twitter, everybody. Sorry. I hope you enjoyed it. You can go over, we're coming down from YouTube. You can find this video tomorrow on Spotify, or you can check out on Twitter. I don't want to waste any more time talking about tech censorship, because then you become a big old bore, and that's how they beat you. Everyone's like this. They're only talking about this thing instead of just giving me information. All right, hold on. Let's just pull down one more.